What is going on? This is Fred Ricciani of TSC News here to recap UFC 216, Ferguson versus Lee. We saw history being made. I'm currently rocking my brand new TSC News gear. If you want to get it, click the link in the description or visit teespring.com/TSC-news-gear. Now we have the big news. Let's go over that first before I lose my damn mind. Okay? And by the way, if you're watching this live, please feel free to click the like button, share this with all your friends, click that subscribe button for more updates, and enable notifications by clicking that stupid bell that YouTube wants you to click on so you guys can know what videos I upload every day. Anyway, enough of that. Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee, they delivered inside the octagon. Kevin Lee may have gotten nearly a 10-8 in the first round. Him and Ferguson were going at it. Kevin Lee landing his hard shots, got Tony Ferguson down, nearly finished him. Tony tied it up in round 2, and then man, oh man, round number 3. It was tremendous. Armbar by Tony Ferguson. Kevin Lee had escaped before, showed great power, but that tough weight cut, that big muscular frame, started to tire him out. And Tony Ferguson tapped out Kevin Lee to win the UFC Interim Lightweight Championship. You might as well call it the UFC Lightweight Championship because Conor McGregor ain't defending that belt anytime soon. His camp has talked about fighting Nate Diaz instead. And Tony Ferguson afterwards celebrated like crazy. He definitely deserved it. He didn't just deserve this title. He earned it. My God, this guy's on a 10-fight win streak. I mean, this is unbelievable. Look at the guys he's beating. He's beating Mike Rio, Danny Castillo, Abel Trujillo, Gleison Tibau. He finished him, and nobody really finishes Tibau. Finished Edson Barbosa. Beat the tough Lando Venata, who fought tonight. Beat the former champ Rafael Dos Anjos. And then tonight, he submitted Kevin Lee. Just tremendous stuff by Tony Ferguson. I know technically he's a champion, but if you don't want to count him as an official champion because of the interim belt, still, this guy has got to be one of the greatest fighters of all time to come out of The Ultimate Fighter. Seriously, just an unbelievable career for him so far. Continues to improve. I mean, yeah, he leaves his chin out there a little bit. He was vulnerable. Kevin Lee did bring the fight to him. But man, oh man, Tony Ferguson got the job done. I really do hope we get Conor McGregor and Conor McGregor and I almost said Floyd Mayweather. Tony Ferguson. Hell, with the way Conor's talking, we may get Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor again before we get Conor McGregor and Tony Ferguson. It's ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, there was another thing that happened in the main event, which I'm going to get to in a second, but let me get to what occurred in the co-main event, which some people might argue should have been the main event. Demetrious Johnson destroyed Ray Borg, submitted him in round number 5 via armbar. He went for some kind of suplex at the end after dominating Ray Borg in round 5. I don't know if it was really like a suplex. I'm sure anybody that's actually been an amateur wrestler could give me the proper term. But it looked like sort of like a modification of like a suplex, a uranage, slamming Ray Borg into an armbar. Ray Borg's leg was above his head, locked in the armbar, and Ray Borg just had to tap out. Mighty Mouse Johnson. Got my Johnsons mixed up. Gets the win and sets the UFC record for most title defenses with 11, breaking Anderson Silva's record. It was tremendous. He's definitely the greatest Johnson of all time. Anthony Rumble Johnson might be the second greatest in UFC history. Actually, that might be debatable. Who knows? I don't know about other Johnsons. But anyway, Demetrious Johnson gets the win, makes history, and I really would like to see him move up to 135, or I would like to see somebody come down. Maybe the winner of Garbrandt versus Dillashaw. Hell, maybe even the loser of Garbrandt versus Dillashaw. But personally, I like to see the winner. I think he's done enough. He's been tremendous, been a model citizen. He's by far the most reliable champion the UFC has had in years, okay? And he deserves our respect. He's also a guy that I cannot believe up to this point has not been able to cross over to the masses. He won the ESPY Award for Fighter of the Year. He's a Twitch streamer. He's very popular within the video game community. It's 2017. Going into 2018, this guy is a gamer. He is popular with Twitch. Esports is gigantic. Video games are gigantic. The UFC has a video game, yet for whatever reason, The UFC does not know how to market this guy. Having Joe Rogan make a proclamation that he's the greatest of all time, and he probably is, does not equal ratings. Do you know how many times I see Joe Rogan in every video package? Oh, he's so crisp. He might be the greatest of all time. He's on a tremendous... It gets old. It becomes white noise after a while. They need to figure out they need to hire an ad agency that understands video games and understands men 18 to 34 years old. And they need them to just market around DJ, because this dude is money. Okay, he's not a great promo like Conor McGregor. He doesn't dress in suits, but last time I checked, there's not one way in order to cross over with the crowd. Let's look at wrestling for a minute, okay? Bill Goldberg just beat people up. He just beat people up and he drew money. He didn't have to cut promos like The Rock. He just beat people up. Here you got a guy, good-looking dude, model citizen, great finishes, gamer. He's in touch with all these dudes, these young people on social media. Capitalize on that. For the love of God, capitalize on that, man. Okay? This guy, Andre Ward, he's marketable. Do something with him. And no offense to Andre Ward. Just saying. Now, here's the third biggest story, and coming out of this fight, or this whole pay-per-view, this might be the biggest story. Kevin Lee came out, had this gigantic, I don't even know what the hell it was. At first it looked like a third breast on his chest. And Joe Rogan, who's known to have no filter, immediately goes, that looks like staph. And Daniel Cormier says, that looks like staph. And for those that don't know, staph infection is a type of infection you could get, like say if if you're a wrestler or an MMA fighter or whatever, and the mats aren't clean, they're dirty or whatever, you get some type of infection. That could be very, very bad. I mean, very, very bad. Staph infections are contagious. They can be deadly. Contagious and deadly. Do you want me to keep going? Staph can spread person to person and be contagious. It can also cause food poisoning, resulting in diarrhea, vomiting, and stomachache. In rare cases, staph infections can turn deadly if the bacteria invade deeper into the body or enters the bloodstream, resulting in fever, joint, and muscle pain. Treatment often includes drainage of the infection and antibiotics. Oh, man. Strains of staph that no longer respond to common antibiotics are called something you've probably heard of, MRSA. So, let me get this straight. Kevin Lee barely made weight last night. He had to cut one more pound. He was given an hour. When last time I checked, I don't think Misha Tate, when she last fought Amanda Nunes, was given an hour. I don't think Daniel Cormier was given an hour. But Kevin Lee was given an hour. He lost the pound and he made weight. He lost weight in a really brutal, dramatic fashion, which was unhealthy and obviously didn't help him in this fight. Allowed to cut 1 hour later. And then he comes into this fight magically with this big-ass mofo on his chest. Now, it'd be one thing if this looked like staph, but it wasn't staph. It'd be one thing if, I don't know, he got into a car wreck earlier in the day, hit his chest. He was training, sparring backstage, and he pulled a Ken Shamrock before Kimbo Slice fight number 1, where instead of cutting himself, maybe he got hit in the chest. Okay? But no. Joe Rogan interviews this guy right afterwards, and he says, yeah, I had a staph infection. It affected me in the fight, but all the credit to Tony. I didn't take antibiotics. Let's stop right there. Staph infection 1. No antibiotics 2. Allowed to fight 3. You're telling me that in 2017, the Nevada State Athletic Commission and the Ultimate Fighting Championship allowed a man with staph infection that, based on the description I read you guys before, is contagious and could be potentially deadly. They let him fight inside the octagon with another man who could very well get staph infection, who is now the current UFC interim lightweight champion, who, if Conor McGregor decides not to fight, could become the official UFC lightweight champion. How the hell does that happen? The UFC is so desperate, doesn't want a main event to fall apart, that they let a guy with staph fight? What's next? A dude that might have hepatitis or something? Jesus Christmas, man. What the fuck? I know you guys want me to talk about the other fights, and I'll talk about them real quick, but do you know how irresponsible that is? Do you know the UFC could be sued for that? The Nevada State Athletic Commission could be sued for that? What if Tony Ferguson contracts staph? What happens if, God forbid, this poor guy ends up in the hospital? What happens? I've interviewed wrestlers and fighters before that have had staph infection. A couple that almost died. Okay? God forbid, the worst the worst other than death happens to Tony Ferguson, and he's debilitated for months or a few weeks in a hospital. It's just unbelievably irresponsible. So I'm gonna get to the other fights, but it's just unbelievably irresponsible by the UFC. If WWE found out a dude had a staph infection, okay, before a main event, and granted this isn't WWE and this isn't fake, and you have to you can't just find a random fighter to go out there and fight Tony Ferguson. But if this were WWE, I'd be confident that WWE would say, you know what, F our damn main event, even if we don't have a replacement, we're not gonna let a guy wrestle in staph. You just do not risk that. You just don't risk that. So listen, I pray, I hope that Tony Ferguson's fine. I hope by some miracle he doesn't have staph, got taken down and was rubbing against Kevin Lee here. But what the hell, UFC? Just unbelievably irresponsible. Speaking of irresponsible, Derek Lewis had to drop out of the fight because of against Fabricio Verdum. Bad back pains. I don't think he's irresponsible, but I think he wanted to fight. But the problem is, somebody on the UFC staff needs to monitor these guys. I mean, isn't that kind of their job? Don't they have somebody that's like a babysitter for the fighters? Oh wait, they had Burt Watson, and then they dumped the guy unceremoniously years ago, which made no sense. And maybe if you had a guy like Burt Watson around still, they would have noticed that, hey, you know what, this Derek Lewis, he's not looking very good right now. And maybe, just maybe, this dude should, I don't know, drop out of the fight like a day or two before. But apparently, he had bad back pain in the morning, and he had to drop out. So this led to some dude named Walt Harris stepping in against Fabricio Verdum, unranked, and losing via submission, armbar, minute 5 seconds in round number 1. Fabricio won. Hard to tell where Fabricio's at these days. This dude's getting older. He's involved in some shady-ish outside of the octagon, which you guys can Google. He called Tony Ferguson a gay slur during a media event a couple days ago. Not a good look. He's also not looked that good in his fights. Man, he's not looked that good at all. So we'll see where he's at. But yeah, unfortunately for Verdum, even though he got the win, I don't think this does anything for him, hoping to get a rematch with Stipe Miocic. We had a women's flyweight bout between two women making their debut. Mara Romero Barea defeated Kalindra Faria via rear naked choke submission in round number 1. This was a pretty good fight, but I'm not sure why these two were on the card. Kind of ridiculous. I do feel bad for Ilwo Brooks, former Bellator champion, who lost the fight because Nick Lentz got sick. So Nick Lentz, I guess, most likely didn't responsibly weight cut. Was too busy tweeting stupid shit and had to drop out of the fight. So I feel bad for Will Brooks. We had Beneil Dariush versus Evan Dunham. This was an awesome fight. This ended up being a majority draw. The second draw of the night, which was very interesting, and I'll get to the other one, but this was a very good fight. So main card-wise, let me just give you guys my thoughts on the main card overall. I thought the main event delivered. I thought the history-making performance by Demetrious Johnson was great, although that might not resonate with a lot of hardcore fans, or a lot of casual fans, I should say, and even some hardcore fans. I feel like still don't appreciate the guy. I mean, Mighty Mouse has never failed a drug test. He's beaten everybody that's been put in front of him. He fought at a high level at 135 pounds as well. He's still young and getting better. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm the only person that takes PED use into consideration, but given the fact that John Jones linked to PEDs, Anderson Silva linked to PEDs. Some of these guys have fought in Pride and came to the U.S. and didn't do so well linked to PEDs. So I don't know. I put him up there with one of the greatest of all time, along with GSP. GSP never failed a drug test, advocated for strong drug testing. So by my standard, and again, it's just my opinion, I think GSP, Demetrious Johnson, I think those guys right now should be considered the greatest of all time. But you're allowed to disagree. So yeah, overall, I think the main card, if you ordered it for solely action and to see something special, you got your money's worth. Not huge in star power, but Tony Ferguson definitely a star in the making. Kevin Lee too, if he doesn't die of staph infection. And Demetrious Johnson is great and will continue to be great. And hopefully the UFC can wake up one day and market him and not just make a bunch of ads that have Joe Rogan going, oh my God, and expect people to just buy his pay-per-views. We had the prelims on FX. This gets confusing. Every now and then it's like the prelims are on FS1, they're on FX, they're on some channel called FXX or whatever. It sounds like a porno channel. We had Cody Stamann defeat Tom. They pronounced his last name before. Duquesnoy, I think is his last name, but his nickname's the Fire Kid, so I'm just going to say the Fire Kid. He beat the Fire Kid via split decision. This was all right. We had an awesome fight between Lando Venata and Bobby King Green. It was a split draw. Venata had a point taken away because he looked like he need Bobby Green on the ground. It was actually his thigh. Slow motion shows it was his thigh. I'm not saying Bobby Green was selling the blow and playing hooky here, but he wasn't doing so well in that first round. And for Venata to get a point taken away, I guess it makes sense, but man, these refs should be able to look at the replay and see what happened there. And that to me, definitely hurt the fight, but still a great fight. Both guys, fought to a draw. I don't hate it. I mean, I don't hate it, but yeah, you know what? These commissions need to adopt whatever rules there are right now. It's either knees on the ground or no knees on the ground to the head. Yeah, you just stop these different rules from commission to commission, state to state. It's getting ridiculous. It makes it confusing for the fans watching at home. It's incredibly counterproductive. Just goddamn, man, get your shit together. Just either make it, either have knees on the ground or not. Okay, either revert back to their old rules or not, but just do something, please. We had Poliana Botelho defeat Pro Gonzalez via decision. I did not watch this fight, but I heard it was a good nap time fight. We had Matt Schnell defeat Marco Beltran via unanimous decision. We had John Moraga look great on the Fight Pass prelims, defeating Magomed Bibulatov, I hope I pronounced that correctly, via knockout. Huge punch in round number 1. And we had Brad Tavares defeat Talis Ladies via unanimous decision. So overall, I'd say it was a pretty damn good action card. I did feel like going into the fight before, the last couple of fights, the two main events, that, while there were some good fights on this show, man, there's just too many damn UFCs. There's too many damn MMA events. It would have kind of been nice if this was like a UFC on Fox to help also promote UFC 217, which seems like the next big fight and everything. I don't think at this stage of the game you need a pay-per-view every month. I know why UFC does it. It's their business model, even with the TV rights deal and everything, and it coming up and them now negotiating with other networks other than Fox. But I just felt like there were too many fights. I don't think a lot of people ordered this fight. Hopefully they'll do something special for the fans. Maybe like Thanksgiving. You know what I would do actually? Maybe like Thanksgiving or something, depending how things go and depending how Tony Ferguson fares after potentially getting staph infection. They'll put this fight on for free on like Thanksgiving or something. I know Fox is probably airing like the Cowboys game and the Lions game, but why not put this fight on for free in Thanksgiving? Replay it. Have it air to a wider audience. I think this would definitely raise the stock of DJ and, of course, Ferguson and Kevin Lee. But overall, I got to say, quality-wise, I give this pay-per-view a thumbs up. But, folks, I want to hear from you. What do you think about UFC 216? What do you think about the ridiculous irresponsibility of the UFC letting a guy fight with staph infection? Jesus Christ. Let me know. Leave a comment below, tweet us, Facebook us, do what you got to do. If you enjoyed this update, please click the like button. Please share this with all your friends. Please click that subscribe button and that bell notifications button. Why? Because we have in-depth MMA interviews with a lot of your favorite stars, including Mark Coleman, Dan the Beast Severin, Anderson Silva, Chael Sonnen. I just did an interview with the Funk Master Aljamain Sterling. I uploaded a preview of that interview right now on this channel. I'll have the full in-depth interview with him later this week, so stay tuned for that. And that's all the time I got. Until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the fights. Freaking staph.